could string pins actually improve your bowling? Yes, I know string pins suck, I think we all agree on that, and while there are some string machines that come close to mimicking freefall, it's not the same. Clearly, given the choice between strings and freefall, freefall will win every time. But with more and more centres switching to strings, we as bowlers are now being forced to make a decision: do we bowl on them? Some of us have no choice with no local freefall centres close by, but even if you do still have freefall centres near you, it's becoming more and more likely you'll come across strings at some point during tournaments, for example. And if you do bowl on them, it's definitely an adjustment. Now, I always think we should try and find the positives in a situation, and there actually is a reason why we should love string pins. Now, I know that sounds hard to believe, especially for those of you who despise them, but just hear me out. The one benefit I can see with strings is that it's much harder to carry on strings than on freefall. How is that a benefit, you might ask? Well, it will actually help improve your own game. You have to be a lot more precise when hitting the pocket to strike. Getting messages on strings is very uncommon, so therefore, if you hit the pocket light, the chances are you're going to leave a corner pin. Also, trip sixes and fours basically never happen, it seems. You go a little bit high and you're going to leave a 4 or 6 on strings. And while the strings can knock over pins such as the corner pin, they can also get in the way to prevent strikes. There's no doubt that getting strikes is a lot harder, but what it does mean is that you need to pay a lot more attention to how your ball is hitting the pins and how it's going through the pins at the back. This is something that many bowlers do not pay attention to. Some think that because they hit the pocket, they will strike. But it really does matter, because if you don't get through the ball correctly and the ball does not hit the pocket in the right way, you're going to struggle to consistently strike, especially on strings. It's a really good practice to just forget everything else and focus on how the ball hits the pins and what it does afterwards. Look to see if it deflects or if it drives through the pins. This is something many bowlers just do not do, and it's vital because you need to be hitting the pins in the correct way. Now, if you pay attention to this and try to practice that on strings, your game is going to improve massively. You will start to know when your ball isn't hitting right, and suddenly that gives you a big advantage because, as I said, most bowlers are not focusing on that. It allows you to learn when you need to adjust and what those adjustments should be. And it's those little things that can make the big difference. And the other great thing is that if you improve this skill, suddenly it's going to be even easier when you do play on freefall. So from that point of view, there is a benefit to at least practicing on strings. Even if you don't want to play competitively on them, then why not consider using them to work on how your ball goes down the lane and hits the pins. One thing you can also say about strings is that it's the same for everyone, but it also could be creating more of a level playing field. Let's quickly look at a report that came out from the PBA at the end of 2024, and it has some interesting stats in it. The PBA conducted a number of extensive tests to try and compare string pins to freefall, and they used the PBA data from 2024. The most interesting stat is that the strike percentage on QAMF string pin machines was 48.52% compared to the 57.62% on the national tour. Of course, you do take into account that when you're comparing it to the Pro Tour, there's going to be a little bit of a difference, but that is still a big difference of nearly 10%, which just proves what we've spoken about so far about it being harder to strike on strings. There was also specific tests with a bowler throwing at speeds of 27 to 30 miles an hour, but that confirmed that the increased speed did not result in higher scores. The average score using high-speed techniques was actually 10 pins lower. Likewise, rev rate made no difference, and neither did bowling two-handed. Now, this is interesting because it seems based on these tests, it was basically the same for everyone, which creates a bit more of a level playing field. It gave no advantage to one particular style or speed, so at least you can say that strings, based on what we see so far, are pretty much the same for all bowlers who compete on them. But the main thing to take away here is how we can use strings to improve our own games. As much as we might hate them, let's at least take away one positive thing, and that's that it can be used to improve your accuracy and improve the way the ball hits the pocket, and that will only benefit your game. I'm sure this one will probably cause a fair bit of debate, especially for those who absolutely hate them, but do let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I'd like to hear your experiences of carry on strings and how you were able to adjust. So that will bring us to an end of today's video. As you may have noticed, this is a brand new second channel that I've set up. Some of you may have come across my main channel, The Right Lane. Well, I set this channel up to do some different type of videos, essentially breaking things down so that we can learn. I've done some videos so far where I've analysed some of the PBA pros, looked at what they do really well, looked at some of their flaws, and then spoken about how we can then translate that and use that for our own game to improve. So if you enjoyed this video, I'd really appreciate it if you'd help me build up my second channel by giving this channel a subscribe. Thank you to everyone for watching today, and as always, thank you bowling fans, and see you all next time.